Hey everyone, and welcome to another week of Shiggles. I'm that guy Rickster.
Hi, Darren, guys. How are you?
Anyway, and this week, let's get into it with the
Mm-mm-mm.
age-old question of how was your week?
My week was alright. Um, yeah, my week was alright. How was your week?
Emotionally, my week was a bitch, but we move. It was okay as well. But highs and lows of every week um was kind of emotionally unstable this week, but I made it to the end, and that's what matters. We move on, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, life of being
Yeah,
an adult, we gotta pick ourselves up and move
exactly. If we don't, who will?
on. Gonna stay right there.
But anyway,
Anyway,
so
so this
this week
week,
we've been pushing back this topic for what, 3 weeks now?
yeah, because things happen, things come up.
Yeah, and we
It's
shuffle them
alright.
around. But this week we're going to be talking about stan culture.
The culture of this stance.
Let's jump into it. Um, what do you have to say about stan culture? Because I don't have a lot to say about stan culture. I don't think I partake as much to have a lot to say about stan culture.
You do,
I do?
but you're probably not crazy, but you do.
Yeah, but I don't think that's
Um,
why I say I don't think I partake enough in it.
but don't quote me on this, but I think the term was coined by Eminem in a song in the early 2000s about Stan and this person, it's something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I remember having something to do with Eminem and all of that. That's where I
Okay.
remember the name from.
See, I didn't even know
Um
that.
However, stan culture, I can say it was always around, but
Mm-hmm.
more like 2008, 2009, thereabout. That's when it became like an actual, like, official thing where people actually acknowledge that, oh, certain people who follow this artist, or called this or called that, and
Yeah.
it went on from there.
I was
Like,
is I the first one I really heard about was the Beehive. No,
uh
honestly, no. The Monsters was the
yeah,
first I heard about.
the
The
the Beehive is
Monsters.
not the first.
No,
I
I'm
would
saying the ones I heard
say
about first, sir.
I would say the first unofficially would probably be the Lambs. That's like
Oh,
Mariah Carey
Mariah Carey.
fans,
Yes, that's
but
true.
and it would also make sense in terms of coming from the whole drama she had with Eminem, hence her
Yeah,
releasing the
that
song
makes
"Obsessed,"
sense.
having the Eminem lookalike and all of that. But it wasn't a huge
That
thing. It was
song was
like it
funny.
was budding. But Stan culture became huge because of Twitter.
Yeah,
With the rise of Twitter, like, '08, '09, that's when people started like establishing like groups and stuff
and the
like that.
Stan Wars
Um,
took over.
and Gaga being like a huge phenomenon at the time, she was basically like, I don't want to say like the queen of Twitter, but she was one of the most popular ones on Twitter initially when it came out. Um, the moment she coined or she said "My Little Monsters" and then that catch on, it became a huge thing on Twitter. And shortly after that, you had the Believers, the Beehive, and these names are kind of like very self-explanatory.
See,
Like,
you know the history of this whole thing. I didn't even know all that. Well, of course,
because I
I knew
like pop
about.
culture.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm like, you would have more to say about this than I do. But I do, of course, know about Gaga, because of course she's mother, of course. So of course I know about her. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So it came about with them, and like You had also the Beehive as well, the Barbs. These are the early ones. Like these are the first ones. So if you think about all the artists that were like huge and like were popping in the early 2010s, like those. What happened?
Go ahead. I'll say it afterwards. Continue.
Oh, if you think about like the artists that were popping in the early 2010s, Rihanna, the Rihanna
Uh-huh.
Navy, um
Yes, the Navy, Rihanna.
those,
Yes, that's
yeah,
true.
those were like the huge first fan bases, and then that's when like the culture took off, and then it become like this whole I stand this, and stands are generally mostly makeup of gay people,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
only, but
But mostly.
mostly of gay people or people who are allies or supportive of you know these girls, and through that you have a lot of like lingos that arose, like you know I remember initially it was a skinny legend because of Mariah Carey,
Skinny
but
Legend,
then
what's that?
so people always said Mariah Carey was skinny, and they used to post this
Oh,
meme of, it was edited though, with her being extremely skinny and her head being extremely big. And Skinny
okay.
Legend at the time was basically saying, that person is a shit, you know, da 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 da. But now people say mother in terms of saying Skinny Legend,
Oh, I didn't
and
even
so
know
now they were
that.
like, oh yeah, because like you had to be to understand the stan culture. It would have been like you have to have been like using Twitter at the time it came out, because stan culture is also one of the reasons why Twitter blew up. Because
Mm-hmm.
when the celebrities started flocking to Twitter and they started interacting with their fans more than what usually happened in the past, in terms of like an online presence, that started like people started running to the app. Even though the app was used for
Okay.
other things like porn, Twitter After Dark, all of that, but
Well,
it was
yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
pinnacles of making
Other
Twitter a
things.
huge thing. So then, especially the fact that news breaks really easily on Twitter. So it was like an easy platform for like these artists. And to be honest, it's mostly women. Mostly women. Um a few men, but when you think about Stan, it's usually like a bunch of
The
gay men,
divas.
gay people, queer people flocking towards these divas.
Yeah.
They have a name, the fans have a name, and they've come together and agreed that this is who
Why
they
I
are.
was laughing earlier. Do um Dua Lipa.
Oh,
do
they
they
call her Dula
do they
Peeps.
they do call themselves the Dula
They
peeps.
do.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they took what Wendy said and just ran with it.
Yes. Which
Okay.
I don't think it was just that. It her name was it wasn't one of those easy like, oh, Beyonce. It was just something that's a little hard to
But I mean,
pronounce.
Dula peeps
I
is
mean,
cute.
people were so that's it. And stan culture, though, however,
Okay.
it's one of these things where it's also like one of the driving force behind a lot of artist success, because you have these people who had a platform or a place to gather together and communicate with each other. So now it's just like the stan also does a lot of the
Because
work for the
if they really
artists.
band together, they can make an artist or break them. Because I don't remember who it was where for weeks they had that one song being number one on the charts, just playing, and they decided we're going to do it. I don't remember who it
BTS.
was.
So
Who was it? No, it wasn't
BTS
them. It was a female. It was one of the female
for
artists. But
weeks.
yes, but I just don't remember who it was.
Probably Taylor Swift. It's either BTS or Taylor Swift.
I don't remember, but it's somebody.
Because
And I know it's not her because
stands
I don't listen to her. So,
when stands figured how Billboard worked, like stands became like the driving force behind marketing, sales and all of that. Like they would actually form group chats on Twitter and be like, we're getting this song to number one. Everybody send money. We buy this. We do this. We stream that. And it has given BTS a lot of their number one. They're called the armies. It's given them a lot of their number ones. But every fan base has capitalized on it. at some
It
point.
wasn't a female. It was because I remember Mariah Carey had the record for years for longest number one on the charts, and then I think his Lil Nas X, he now
With
has
Old
it.
Town Road. Yeah.
Yes, because his they decided they're going to make it number one, and now he has the spot over Mariah Carey that she held for like almost
Which,
a
if
decade or
you
something like
look
that.
at it in a sense, one, it's like from two different decades. When
Yeah,
Maria did it, it was just like radios were actually playing the song. People were actually going outside buying the CDs and stuff like
but
that.
that's a
In
feat.
this time, it's like if you have a big enough fan base like Taylor Swift, they will send anything. It doesn't matter the
Yeah,
quality of the work, the quality of the album, the song, they will send anything to number one
but
because people start dipping into their coins and they're like, we need this, so we're going to stream this, we're going to buy this.
what are your thoughts though on what stan culture is now? Because you've seen where
Oh,
people
it's evolution.
people will literally get into fights over the people that they are fans of. They will literally start fights, send death threats, all these things. So do you think at some point it has become like too toxic?
I think it goes hand in hand with what the artist supports and promotes.
Yeah.
Let me say this, right? And a lot of stands act like their faves in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. There are some who don't necessarily act like their fave, but their fave is quiet per se. They don't say anything. So the
Yeah.
fans just do whatever they want. Um if you think about like it's toxic through and through. It's toxic through and through. But if you should ask someone who knows about stan culture, the first thing they're gonna be like is the barbs, the barbs, the barbs, the
Yeah.
barbs.
And I've heard that a lot.
Um the barbs are the I will pull up and fight for Nikki sort of stance.
Mm-hmm.
They're not with the chit chat back and forth, da, da, da. They're like, okay, all right, drop the addy, let's pull up, let's fight sort of thing. Um and it also goes hand in hand with Nicki Minaj character. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm a barb as well, not a full barb, but I'm a barb like Nicki is, you know.
Love that for you.
Everyone has their own problems, but I just think the worst for me, if I should give you the top three, based on what I know on
Yeah.
history and all of that, the barbs in the top three. But
Would you say they're number one?
what people don't realize, they're not, to me they're not number one.
Okay. Who would you say is number
The
one?
barbs are like if you don't provoke them, they don't got shit to do or say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also how society is set up, where if you provoke someone and they take it too far, then they are the monsters. Like they
So
are the
who's
bad
number
one.
one?
The number one would be Taylor
Yeah.
Swift, which is the Swifties.
Okay. Why?
Predominantly white. Sorry guys, like my
Yeah.
music just turned on. I just don't know what the hell happened with that.
You
But
said the
they're
word.
predominantly white. Based on what I've seen over the years. Now we all know Taylor Swift makes a few bops here and there, but she's not the most talented in terms of singing, dancing, all of that. However, she's like a marketing genius and she knows how to capitalize off things. But the fans, they're very racist, very
Mhm.
homophobic. All the phobia you can think about. I can simply just go on Twitter, pull up a comment with them saying some racist,
Oh,
homophobic,
really?
some
I didn't know
problematic thing.
this.
They hide behind these profiles because it's most stands don't really use their actual face, and it's mostly teenagers into people in their like mid-20s, some a little older, like because Little Monsters, the older fan bases like Beehives, Monsters will have older people because
Yeah,
those are
because
like the
we like grew
pioneers
up with
of
them.
grew up with them.
Yeah.
But Taylor Swift fan base is very racist, very homophobic, and the stuff that they post and they tweet is always transphobic. If the things that they actually say
All the
are just
phobics you can
automatic
think of.
problematic, and it's always
Okay.
unprovoked.
Didn't know
Because
that.
you know they
But as I
always
said,
compare about which artist is better, da 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 da.
I don't really like follow her up that much, so I wouldn't know anything about even her fan. And I'm not on Twitter. That you know what I use Twitter for, so I
Porn.
would not be on that side of Twitter. But
But
who's number two then? If she's her fan base is number one, who's number two?
no, she's number one. Barb's on number two, but number three,
Who's number three?
the Beehives.
Well, that makes sense.
They're not that much far from the Barbs in terms of they will pull up and do things. And
Yeah.
the reason why I say I do not like that fan base, and it's something that I say all the time, outside of even outside of like musical artists, you can love someone to the moon and back, but the moment you are not allowed to question or criticize that person, it's an automatic chop for me,
Yeah.
because not everything like is negative. Like a criticism could be just like, oh, I wish it was more personable, da 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 da. If you try to say, oh, I wish Beyonce interacted more with her fans, if I wish she was more personable, da 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 da. Oh, don't you dare disrespect the queen. She doesn't need to do this. And I'm like, I'm really and truly not trying to hate on her and anything. It's just that, for example, I like Gaga. I don't like the direction where she's taking her career now, but it's still her career. But as a fan, I'm like, why are you parading in Vegas for 6, 7, 8 years like an old washed up act? Like first it was
Oh,
cute. First it was cute. You got 100 million, but then this transitioned from 2015, 16, 17, and it keeps on going. So I'm like, at this point, you're aging yourself out of the industry.
And
I don't know
I guess
if
it's
it's
easy money as
intentional,
well.
which is true, but it's kind of different from the initial morals and values that you used to push for. That it's about the music for me. It's not about the money. But no, it's like everything you do comes with
Is
some sort
about the
of
money.
monetary thing. People
Yeah.
were begging for the art pop anniversary for maybe like a few unreleased songs, like something on the day. All you did was posted like, oh, new merch from art pop. So I'm like, we're not a purse. And mind you not, I still love her dearly, but I'm still able to step outside and say I do not
Yeah,
like these
because
things
you
that she's
should be
doing.
able, even though you love someone that much, you should be able to say when they're not
When they're not, right?
doing the
And
right thing.
it's an issue that I have with every single person that I've met who is a Beyonce fan, is like, you are not allowed to critique her. And I'm like, no one is perfect. And they take everything so personal that it's like you're making a jab at her. And I'm like, if I say I don't like a particular thing, maybe I don't like where the direction where her music is going right now, it doesn't mean that I love her any less.
True.
I'm just not fucking with what's going on right now. And
But
I
some
hate
people just
people who
aren't
are
able
not
to
able to
see
say
beyond the veil.
and that's the issue that I have with them, because you're never able to have a conversation where you give constructive criticism. And
Yeah.
if you're not able to do that to like someone that you say you like or whatever, of course our opinions doesn't matter, but people still gonna have feelings for what they like. That's the reason why I say like they're the third. It's if you don't have anything positive to say to a Beyonce fan about Beyonce, there's no conversation that you'd have, because the moment it leans into anything that's not positive, it's gonna be a whole situation.
That's when the
And I'm
argument
like,
starts.
it's really not that serious.
It's
You
really
can
not.
love and critique
I
the
think that's
people
the
who you
reason
like.
why I don't follow up stan culture so much, because to me it's not that serious. If I like you, I
Exactly, and
like you.
people
If I
make it so
don't, I
exhausting.
don't.
And they
Right?
talk about these people like they know them personally, and I'm like,
And you really
you,
don't.
you do not know Beyonce personally. You do not know Gaga
But the
personally.
thing
So like,
is, social media has given society on a whole this air of, oh, I know them because I'm seeing everything that they're posting every day, whatever. But they're only showing you what they want you to see. You still
because
don't know the person.
because I remember one time I was expressing to someone why I like different artists, right? And I was going through the line, and when I got to Beyonce, I was like, oh, to be honest, I've always liked her artistry and stuff like that. But for me, I am only interested, or I'm only tuned in when she does a particular type of music.
Mm-hmm.
When she does the Formation type or the Get Me Body type, those type of songs are the songs that I like from her. Outside of that, if it's not really much that, I don't really care for her. Oh, maybe you just don't understand the music and da, da, da. I'm like, I'm not trying to understand the music. I
You just
just
like
do
what
not
you
like
like.
the other. It's just not what I like. So I'm just not gonna tune in. I'm not gonna post hates and say this is not the. Da, da, da. It's not.
Cause even
It's really not that
I
deep.
I really do like Rihanna as well. As you know, I love her music, Gaga as well. But for both of them, when it comes to their albums that I song that I have on my phone, I don't the only full album I have from Gaga on my phone right now is Chromatica. And eventually I'm going to start deleting songs that I don't really listen to that much because I I'm going to give the full body of work a chance, but over time, if I find myself skipping a song that comes on a lot, I'm going to remove it because clearly I'm no longer interested in this song. So even with
You probably
them,
overplayed it too.
that too, because but even with them, like what's her name? There are a lot of artists I have because I listen to a lot of different artists, but for most of them, I do not have the full album on my phone. It's just particular songs that I like on the album, but that's fine. I like what I
Yeah.
like. If the song just isn't my vibe, I'm just not going to save it on my phone. That doesn't mean I don't like them as much as you, but I just like the type of music that I like.
And then the other thing that I don't really like about stan culture is, even though I'm a stander myself, is like multiple people can't exist at the same time. Oh, this one is better than this one. This one did this before this one. This one started this. This one do this. And while
Or you're copying
sometimes,
this one.
right, while sometimes it's true, like I just don't like the fact that people aren't able to step outside of who they like to appreciate others and like also give respect or flowers where that is due.
It's
And it's
due.
just like everyone can exist at the same time. It doesn't have to be a competition like she against her and her against
The
this and
world
this one
is
is
big
doing this,
enough.
and I'm like, it's really not that serious. And it gets to the point where people, they start throwing out like these baseless things and be like, oh, this person is better than this person had surpassed this. Now someone said something to me that rubbed me the wrong way the other day,
Which
and I'm
was?
like, it's not. And in my brain I'm like, the conversation isn't even that serious. So, but what you said to me just now, like, not because I like Gaga, but I will never say some dumb shit like what you said. He said to me that in terms of talent, Ariana has surpassed Gaga.
Singing, maybe. Vocals.
Singing, no. No.
I don't know.
No.
I'm just
No.
trying to like
No.
say why. I don't know what he
No.
meant.
I'm gonna tell you what he meant, because when he said it, I was confused. I was like, "What are you
I'm
talking about?"
confused.
I was like, "What are you talking about?" And it was like, "Oh, in terms of, because," and this is one thing I hate about Stan culture. Stan culture does numbers a lot, because an album did 2 million, 5 million, 3 million. Oh, this person is better than that person. It's not about numbers, baby. It's about artistry. It's about vocals. It's about productions. About all of that. So he was saying, oh, because Gaga's last three projects didn't really do anything, and Ariana's last three projects did something. So I'm like, that's it. And it wasn't to be shady, because I'm like, though I haven't thoroughly enjoyed a lot of things Gaga's done in the last couple of years, I'm like, you do realize that she's intentionally not writing commercial music, because if she just wants to just randomly write a whole Fame Monster and all of these things, like, it's easy for her to just like, okay, Blood Pop, hello,
She could
get on the
have.
fucking phone. So I'm like, to say something like that, I'm like, a lot of times it's definitely not about the numbers and number ones and all of that, because I'm like, for example, Taylor Swift has had how many number one albums in the last 5 or 6 years because she keep mass releasing shit. But since the last album she released in 2019, nothing she's released since then has been good. It's been commercially successful because of the mass releasing and the
The
100,000
fans.
variants of the fans buying the same album, six, seven, eight version, but none has been good. If you ask a random person on the street, hey, what's the latest Taylor Swift song you know?
I'm that person.
They're gonna be like,
I
has
can't
she
tell you
released
any of
like,
them.
no, that's the point, because when you mass release shit and then everything sounds the same, which is what Stans are dragging her for now, and people outside of Stan, like general people on Twitter, they're like, this sound like the last two albums you released still. There's no growth. You're still a 30 something year old woman singing about this boy did this, Kim did this, Kanye did this. Grow up. It's been decades. Stop being a victim with your white woman tears. Let it go. So it's not always about numbers.
Again, I wouldn't know anything about it. I don't listen to her music.
But it was so funny because when he said the shit to me, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do this, because if you're gonna
You
say Ariana has surpassed Gaga, yet Gaga is the one that gave her first Grammy, you've already lost the argument.
There we go. Say it again. I know you're
And I
not
don't know
going
in
to,
and I
but
don't
you know
know
what I
in what
meant.
world you wanna say someone who had a number one album, a number one song at the same time, that number one song also won a Grammy and an Oscar at the same time. I'm like, let's not do
Make it
this.
make sense, right?
So when they do little things like that, I'm like, there's no real comparison or competition because everybody's in their
They're just
own lane
going
for
off of
themselves.
what they know.
But this numbers thing, but oh, this person did this and this person, I'm like, okay, all right.
You know what always gets me when people I'm talking to them like, oh, do you listen to Taylor Swift? And my response is no. It's like, you don't? I'm like, yeah, don't listen to her. 'Cause she doesn't make music for me, so I'm not going to listen to her. I don't
The issue
like her
of
music.
not liking something or someone that's popular, it always gets me because if, and I don't understand it, because if I turn to you and say, hey, I do, if you turn to me and say, hey, I do not like Gaga's music, I am not gonna try to pick your brain to question why you don't like it. If you don't like it, you just don't like it.
It's a
With
simple
some of
okay, and
these,
we move on.
with some of these stands, is like, okay, all right, I don't like Nicki Minaj's music. Why don't you like Nicki Minaj's music? Da 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 da. It's this, and the person is Beyonce, and she's this, and she's Rihanna, and I'm like, okay,
Again, we go back to it's not that serious.
it's really not that serious. Like, and I explain to people that I generally not just like music, but I also like, in terms of stand wise, I generally like the person's character outside of how much I can relate to them. It might not be
Yeah.
the same for you. So some people I relate to more. Some people just have the catchier lyrics. Da 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 da. If I genuinely don't like something, there's generally no hate or question that needs to be asked.
We just don't
I
like
just do
it.
not. It's not that
We're
deep.
not everyone is not going to
It's
like the
not the
same
same people.
thing. We're
Yeah.
all going to like different things.
So it's just it's just crazy, and I'm just like, okay, all right. I'm
Yeah.
not going to bed arguing over no artist that
And I'm not going
is
to
richer
lose
than I
sleep over
am.
people who don't know me and who their lives are going to be like way better than mine for the rest of their lives and mine. So why would I lose sleep over them? They're
And that's,
fine.
it can be fun, because when I'm on Twitter and I'm reading the little drags and little digs here and there of different fan bases going at it with each other, I'm like, this is kind of funny. And when people actually pull facts and they're not trying to be rude or this is like willfully disrespectful and all of that,
Yeah.
it's funny sometimes because like you see the comments and people dropping the facts. I'm like, this is actually funny. But aside from that,
Especially
I'm
the
just
fans
like,
of the Real Housewives.
the,
Their tweets are funny as hell.
it is
I
funny,
love
and
them.
it's like Stan, and that's one of the things I wanted to say to Stan culture evolved from just
The artist.
music, but it also evolved into housewives, reality shows, TV
Drag
series,
Race.
the Drag Race, all of that. And even the other day, someone was saying that as much as how, men don't like to say it, but they're also stand of the football players that they watch. All of them things, it's all a
They might just
version
call
of
it, they just say fans, but it's
it's
the same
basically the
thing.
same thing. It's
It's
basically the
literally the
same
same
thing.
thing.
Having the picture up in your room on the
And it's the
wall,
same
all of
way
that is
they
the
will
same
go to
thing.
war for their
They will
team.
go
If
to
you should
war.
say
And
something about their team, they will fight you.
people always criticize stands on Twitter for how far they go, like doxing people and doing that. But have you ever seen football players when their team loses? Fair and square enough, we all went to the match. We all saw the match on TV. The team lost, and suddenly it's a riot outside.
Mm-hmm.
Buildings are being burned, and
And
this
everybody
huge
wants blood.
violence. And I'm like, everybody wants blood, and I'm like, you think people on stand Twitter be doing all of that? Men are way more violent about the especially if like the referee or the umpire did some shady shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, stands ain't violent yet.
But it's every
Ducks,
sporting event though, because even figure skating, you get people riled up. People get riled up over that as well. Gymnastics.
I guess because we all, like someone, we like something. It comes with passion. It
Yes.
comes with passion, and that passion, when things doesn't go away, can turn into rage, and rage.
Mm-hmm.
People dox people, and for people who don't know what doxing
That's
is, they release your address and your phone number and everything on the internet. It
But
happens.
that's where I think it goes too far though. Whenever it gets to the point of you wanting to cause harm to someone or sending death threats, as we said, we've
It's
been
not
saying
that
throughout this,
serious.
it's really not that serious.
Not that
Why?
serious.
We
And
move. We continue to
one thing
move.
I always wanted to say is that yes, the artist doesn't control these people, but a lot of the times the artists just remain silent
I
and just
wanted to
allow
bring
their
that
fans
up.
to do it.
I wanted to bring that up. At some point, you have to step in at some point because they are your fans, and I know if you just say one thing to them, they will chill. But if
Yep,
you don't, it's going to continue because as far as they're concerned, you're co-signing what they're doing because you're not saying anything.
not saying anything, not doing anything. So I guess it's alright. And it doesn't matter.
The
Stan
Drag
Twitter
Race
beefs.
fans.
Stan Twitter beefs. I'm gonna get into that in a second.
No, we are. That's what we're going to talk about in the this week segment.
Stan's Twitter beefs will last for decades. And say, for example,
Look
the
what they did
Barbs
to
were
Carrie
arguing.
Hilson.
Right? Say, for example, speak funny enough, Carrie Hilson is on my TV right now. The same My Name is Carrie song.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, so it's like, it's so funny.
Oh, that one. Yes, yes. I know that. I remember that song.
Yeah, she's an example of, she went against the Beehive and it was a whole
And
thing.
they destroyed her.
It was a whole thing. But at the
Yeah.
pinnacle of it, there's people who Stan Twitter looks out for and supports no matter how problematic they are. Like Azealia Ebanks, she will get up and curse everybody fans out, and people still love Azealia.
And people still love her. But when I find, yes, she says a lot. She really does. And a
There's
lot
some
of
truth
it
in it
is
sometimes,
problematic. But it's also funny and entertaining to me.
Always so entertaining, and sometimes there's truth in it.
When she
Sometimes there's
reads,
truth in it.
she reads.
And it's a
She
huge
really
rant.
reads when she's ready.
It's a huge rant. But
Yeah.
I was saying earlier too that stands will come together when it's convenient. So say
Mhm.
for example, the other day, Beyonce and Taylor Swift took a picture together, they hung out. The war between the Beehive and the Swifties is at a temporary pause.
Yeah, because
Everybody's
both
all celebrating that they came together.
because both artists are now coming together to show you guys there's nothing wrong going on between us. Like, calm the hell down.
You see the moment
So,
this wears off
no,
after
they're
3 to
calm.
5 business days, they're back at it.
Yeah.
Back at it again. The back at it again. And Stan, it's dangerous because a lot of the drama that happened between Nicki and Cardi, that was a whole fans played a huge role in
I've
that
heard
situation.
that as well.
A
I've
huge role
heard
in
that statement
situation.
before.
They did.
that it
They
was
did.
literally the fans who really pushed this rift between them. But I've
And it's a
always said it.
little.
I think if the rap girlies who are around right now, if they should all come together and do a tour, they would
Shut it
they would
down.
dominate.
Shut it
Instead of
down.
fighting against each other, like just come together. Just do a tour together. Like that I and just imagine, because remember, it's not just your fans who are going to be there. My fans are going to be there. We're all going to be there. It's huge. They can do arenas if they wanted to.
But the issue also is that this only happens with the women. If
Yes.
Justin Bieber gets popular today and then someone similar to Justin Bieber get popular the next 2 months, you will never see people putting them together against each other to be like, oh, they can't be two of them at the same time. It's almost like it's okay, nothing is wrong. If Nicki Minaj pops up today and another Nicki Minaj pops up 3 months after, okay, no, it can be only two girls. It can only be one queen mother. The two of
And
them,
it
and
should
I
it
don't
shouldn't
get
have to be that
why.
way.
I
There's
don't
enough
get why
space
we
for
can't
everyone to
exist.
coexist.
You cannot. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But all in a day is Stan Twitter. All in a
The
day.
last thing I will say is it's not that serious. That's
It
all I have
really
to
is
say.
not. It's really not.
And
Fighting a stranger online about an artist, like it's if it's
who
catty and a
doesn't know
little
you?
witty, it's okay. But if it's getting serious now to the point where you need to beat this person up, you don't know this person. You gonna fly all the way to this person's house like a barb flew to another person's house the other day. They fought. Cops got involved. Are you
Why?
serious?
That's just ridiculous now.
It was a whole
That is just
situation.
ridiculous
It's a
now.
whole situation.
But I like how for our topic we didn't have much to say. We said a lot.
You
36
didn't
minutes
have
where
much to
we've
say.
been.
You
Well,
didn't
yeah,
have a lot
but
to say.
we're going to get into the other segments. We might keep this part short we have to just finish it. So in the this week segment, guys, we're going to be talking about Drag Race. The finale happened. We started our first episode. We spoke about
Mm-hmm.
the reveal.
Mm-hmm.
So might as well we just like get to the end. Um Thoughts? Let me
Thoughts?
say before you jump in, I liked this finale. I honestly think that this cast together they're one of the strongest casts we've seen in a while on Drag Race.
True.
They are. And
Now season 14.
this top two as well, I think they have been the strongest together in a very long time. Because this I just don't know what it is from. And you remember, if we go back to our first episode, I said from the reveal, I'm rooting for Nymphia and Saphira. You said something about, oh, I'm just rooting for her because she's Asian and blah, blah, blah. I remember that.
Which is true. Let's not deny
But
this.
no, but they made it to the end. And I honestly think that the entire cast collectively has been the strongest cast we've seen. And also, this season has been so good because it kind of reminded us of the earlier seasons, like a season
Thank you,
five.
Plain Jane.
Yes, like a season 5, a season 4, when the girls were giving us the drama and we loved it. And I think that's
And
why this season was so good.
people aren't given, and it's the newer fans, to be honest, because the way Plain Jane acted all season is nothing brand new to me. This is how I expect
And
drag
the thing
queens
is,
to be.
it
It wasn't nasty for people
She
to
was
be
tame.
like, oh, she's a villain, and I'm like, this is tame in comparison to what we've had.
are
with
they
Fifi
forgetting,
and
bitch, I'm
a
from
lot of-
Chicago?
And a lot of the popular girls now, like Raja, Detox, all of them were terrible
Raja
people.
was a bitch on her season.
All of them were terrible people.
To
So I'm so
Shangela.
confused why people are like, oh, Plain is this and this is not. And someone made a comment about they're tired of the story of the person who always wanted to be on Drag Race, the person who was a mother to everybody, the underdog. They're tired of that story because back in the past, we used to have the people who were the villains actually winning. And if you go back to the first seasons, season 1, BB maybe not so much, but Tyra was seen as a villain.
Tyra was a
Raja
villain on
was
her
seen as a
season.
villain. Sharon was seen
Are
as
they?
a villain.
Are people forgetting when what's her name? Raven sat down and
Yep.
told Tatiana, girl, I don't think you're shit. But then they cut to the confessional. She's like, her hair is shit. Her dress is shit.
So
She's shit.
I'm like, and the queens are afraid to be their authentic self because they're afraid of getting canceled, which is one of the reasons that made me gravitate towards playing so much. Because I'm like, she might have been doing a little bit too much, but it gave us this season. And
But
someone said Nymphia won the show, won the crown, but playing one in reality TV and Safira won
won
in
the
Miss
crowd.
in whatever
She
congeniality or
won
whatever
the
the
crowd.
case
She
may
won
be.
the heart.
Yeah, the heart of the people. Which
Yeah.
I was
Which I
saying
think
that
she did.
I was saying that I hate this. Let's bring them to the finale and cut them, and then only have two people lip sync. I don't like it. This has never. This only
Would-
happened 2 seasons now.
Would you have preferred if they had like maybe
A three-way lip
plain and
sync.
nip? Or yeah,
A three-way
like
lip sync.
three-way
She
and then
decided
cut
which two
one.
move forward from the three-way and cut one. But and I think I saw. I think you sent it in the group that we're on with Lux saying that she didn't get over losing Drag Race, and I'm like, well,
Yes, I did.
I can
I
see
did
that
send that.
because Lux and Mistress did not get a chance at the crown. They automatically remember, at the beginning of the episode, they automatically cut Mistress and Lux. They did not lip sync against each other. The only lip sync that we saw was between Sasha and Anitra.
Oh yeah, that is true. They
Now
did.
imagine-
They did original songs as well.
Imagine getting to the finale and you hear, "Oh, all right, bye."
I
Only
forgot
these
that.
two.
I honestly forgot, which is why I asked that question I did in the group, because I honestly forgot that last season they didn't have them like a lip sync battle with all of them.
It-
That's what I honestly thought. That's what
It
happened last
makes
year.
me wonder if it is that the judges are the judges and production are realizing that, and no shade to certain people who have won, between between season 12 and season 14. I don't remember who won season 13. I don't
Willow.
remember who won. So who
Willow
won
Pill.
14?
Wait, 12 was Jada.
Four,
Jada gave
14
the crown to Willow.
No, 14 was Willow.
So who was 13? Oh, Simone was 13.
Okay. So
Yes. So Jada gave the crown to Simone. Simone to Willow.
Specifically season 14. I know Willow won, but I don't think that's who they saw winning.
You think so?
And it's like a thought in my head that the way things have been going is like they're cutting people to specifically leave who they want to win. So there
can
isn't
see that.
there isn't like an upset to say, hey, we know Shay's gonna win this, but Shay flops in the lip sync and then somebody else win. Because for the last 2 seasons, it has been just cut to top 2.
Yeah, that's true, because from the whole thing with Shay, when everybody was crazy about her not
It's just
making
been
it to
cut
the
to
end
top
because
two.
she got the 4 wins. That
been
is
just cut
true.
to top
That's when
2.
they stopped doing the whole season,
They did it after, but
the
that's what
one
I'm
with
saying.
Angeria, that season with Angeria, when it was all 5 of them. They all had like a lip
Lip-synced.
sync off. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Diabetes, it was Angeria, it was Willow, Bosco,
Camden.
and Camden.
Yeah.
I don't know. It to me it seemed as if they didn't want Willow to win because automatically after that it's just like, okay, we're
But I
not even
remember-
going to care about Mistress or Lux.
I
We're gonna
remember
we're gonna
saying
be-
with Willow's season that the moment I knew she was going to win was when they were doing the video of her talking, and she says something about the disease that she had, and she wants to prove that somebody with this, they can also like follow their dreams and like
To
and
be
I was
honest,
like, she's winning
good
this.
for her, but I'm tired of the sub stories.
Yeah. Like
I need the
with
villain to
Nymphia.
start winning.
Again, we're going to with the moment Nymphia said I would be the first East Asian to win this, I was like, she's winning this. This is
But
her
to
crown.
be honest, and no shade to her because she destroyed Saphira in that lip sync,
She really did.
she doesn't give me winner energy. Not that she's
Thank
not
you.
the winner.
That's
this
what
is
I've
the
been
reason why
saying.
I said she doesn't give me winner energy is because for the first of the season, straight out the gate,
She
talented,
started off very
winning,
strong.
very strong. Aside from the first few episodes until the end where she won the third challenge, background, close to the bottom,
And I've been saying this.
flopping,
This is why I said
and it's
Safira
a
grew on
long
me throughout the
season.
season. Safira, they have been giving her the winner's edit up until last
So
night.
I
She
get
was
why
getting the
people are
winner's edit.
mad. I get why people are mad because it's like she doesn't give me winner energy at all. It's like she was in the background. This was like a
So
background
even though
character.
I was rooting for both of them from the reveal, I'm not mad that she won. I'm just
But it just
disappointed
feels a little
Safira
bit.
didn't.
Yeah, it
It
just feels a
I
little bit.
because even people who were just starting to watch the season, they're like, "What? How did that happen?" But
Yep. And
let's the finale though, even with the performances, Safira had the best performance out of
yeah,
all
because
of
when
them.
she started with that opera, I was like, oh yeah.
And the
Yeah.
mom, if the
Absolutely, yeah.
when they kept showing the crowd, all the girls were on their feet. They were all cheering for her. That wasn't happening with anybody else but her. The judges
But
weren't even sitting
it happened
down.
when Nymphia destroyed her. That's lip sync too.
Well, in the lip sync, yes, but
Yeah,
I'm talking about like
because
individual performances.
the
Even the
vampire tea was
judges
a
were standing
choice.
up.
The
The
vampire
vampire
tea was
teeth
a
were a choice,
choice.
and I'm not sure
Cause
why
I'm
she
like,
did
girl, where are
that.
you going with that?
I'm wondering if it has to do with the fact that in the video, Kylie Minogue, she kind of has like a vampire look going on with all red and whatever. I'm wondering. That's the
Okay,
only thing
I
I could
really
think
don't
of.
know. There another
But
fan base while we were talking about stan culture that has gotten so toxic,
yes, they
because
have.
Twitter is
I was waiting for
tearing
you
up
to
right
like bring
now.
that up,
Tearing up. People are bringing race into it, and I'm like, okay, all
and
right.
they always do that.
Racism is becoming not even just racism. A lot of these social issues are becoming really annoying to feed into because people are weaponizing it for the simplest of thing. Oh, I
Hmm.
can't believe that those black people got to work harder twice and da, da, da. I'm like, most of this cast that won is black at
I've
this
been
particular
black.
point. And if you then take out a lot of the POCs, it means the white, and I'm not even defending white people, but the white counterparts are way less at this particular point because you had so many black and so many POC people. It's just that the ratio is way above there. So do not do that. It
Yeah,
got nothing to be with her being black at all. She just got destroyed in the final lip sync. She lost
she.
to fair and square. That's just it.
And after getting over my initial disappointment, I went and I rewatched the lip sync, and I had to admit, Nymphia did do better than her in the
Yeah,
lip sync.
she tore
For
her up
one,
like
I love Safira, but she kept on the dress for too long. She kept that on for too long. And then she took too long as well to do the hair reveal. Meanwhile, Nymphia is over here just ripping clothes
doing
off.
reveal after reveal
Just
after
reveal after
reveal after
reveal, like
reveal.
doing headstands, splits, all these things. I'm like, all right, Safira.
Plus,
When?
her entire concept was thought out to the end.
Yes,
She
it
came out.
was.
She was a boobati.
Yeah,
And
she was.
even initially when I saw the balloons, I didn't really think of it that much. But when she opened the thing, it's like the popping boobas basically float up.
Yeah, and then the
That's-
hat was also
And then the hat was
cup
also.
with
So
the
I'm
straw.
like, she came prepared. So I'm
She
like,
had it
she lost
figured
fair and
out.
clear.
She really did. So I get
there
why
are
she
not a-
would win. If it comes as Ru always says, it come down to the final lip sync. I get why she won because she really did. She did it. She did what she needed
But
to do
That
in the
fan
lip
base
sync.
is one
But
of
when
the
it
most
comes to the
toxic
overall
right now.
season,
Yeah,
Safira
she doesn't
won
give good
the
energy.
season.
Yeah.
But you know, it would have been amazing to me if she won because then she would be the winner with the crown and Miss Congeniality.
All right, I kind of didn't want that to happen. That was a little
But the
bit too
thing
much.
is, that's another way. That's another reason why I said I figured she wasn't going to win either because they allowed her to be Miss Congeniality as well. They could have been like, "Hey guys, let's recount this. Let's revote." No, or they could have just given it to, who
Tsunami
got it
alone.
again? Tsunami, which I thought was cute that she got that.
Kind
But
of shocking, but then again,
when
another
they
round
gave
these
it,
people, so I don't
because
know.
I thought it was going to be Safira all along. But I figured because she's top two, they're not going to like even put her name in the running, right? Because chances are she's going to
So that
win.
was kind of
So
shocking.
when they said Safira as well, it was like, all right, Nymphia is winning this. They're not going to give her both titles. They're not going to give it to her. But overall, it was a good season. One of the best seasons in a very long time. I will keep saying that. Season 16,
Now on to
season
All
17
Stars.
girls, they have very big shoes to fill. Because,
You'd be shocked if it's a dry ass season like season 14.
or 7.
Well, I liked Violet, so that wasn't a bad
No,
season.
I
for
liked
me. Y'all
Violet,
need to
but
stop
season 7
shitting-
wasn't
Y'all need to
amazing.
stop shitting on season 7. But
I'm not
anyways,
shitting on them, but or also season 9. Well, season 9 wasn't that epic either. So a lot of the seasons weren't really given, you know. But the season was good.
Anyhow.
It was a good season. We are at 50 minutes. We need to stop this. This is our longest episode so far.
exactly. We need to wrap this shit up. I got.
We're
shit to do
getting
and
too
things to
into
do.
Drag Race right now. So let's end this. But
Well,
with all
yeah.
that said, guys, we have come to the end of another episode of Shiggles. I have been that guy Rickster.
Hi, this was Darren.
And we'll catch you in the next one, guys.
What's the pause
Bye.
for?
No, because what you just and this is Darren. Liquor life. Something.
It's got a fucking. It's been an hour. Anyways,
Almost 10 minutes to go. But we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye.
bye guys.